What is going on, guys? We're back, episode number 2. We want to give you guys a huge thank you for all the support that we received on IG. The love was real for sure.
And YouTube already.
And we haven't even pushed it till like literally right now. But we wanted to just thank you guys again, for all the love and support. We're excited to just continue hitting this hard and going in. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. We're super excited about this.
Let's do this. On a special note, Alexis did like a cool thing recently. She ended up moving to downtown LA.
Super exciting. I've always wanted to move over here, but I just never actually did it. And I originally was going to buy a house and I was going to move to the IE, but I just feel like everything is about experiences. And I feel like moving to LA, there's going to be a lot of opportunities, a lot of people to talk to and learn different things. So I feel like LA is definitely a good move for me.
100%.
So I've only been there for like 4 days, but I love it already.
I mean, it looks like you're having fun already, so you're a big girl now. I found this quote that I wanted to kind of start off the podcast with, which we're losing it today. This is like the third time. You guys should have. I'll probably end up putting like a little clip on our stories that we messed up on, just so that they can see it.
Hey guys, we just wanted to let you guys know that the podcast is now live on.
Alright guys, so we're having struggle.
Hey guys, we just wanted to let you guys know that our the amount of times we try to do that.
Yeah. So Alexis hasn't heard this one yet, so I'm gonna say it just so we can get her reaction to it as well. So it is: success does not depend on your age, your degree, your wealth, or your IQ. It does depend on your belief in yourself and consistent action towards your goals.
I like that a lot.
How do you feel about that?
A lot of people that I know that are very, very successful people don't even have a degree in college. I feel like some of the most successful people are people who've believed in themselves and really just went for it. Like I know I've talked to a lot of people who are very successful and nothing has stopped them. Like they have never taken no for an answer. Like very strong-minded people, and like when they want something, they're gonna get it. And so I know I love that quote because that's actually very true. Like people, I feel like now, especially our generation, like a lot of our parents, our grandparents assume like you have to go to school to be successful. Like if you're not going to school, if you don't go to college to get a degree, like you're not going to go anywhere in life. That's 100%. Their like mentality. But I feel like nowadays it's so different. Like a lot of people don't even go to school, go to college. A lot of even dropouts, like in high school, like very successful people because it's all in your mind. And like,
yeah, I feel like if you already have, honestly, like adding to that, like even outside of the whole like school aspect, I feel like people who have gone through like a bunch of challenges or difficulties in their life are the ones that become super successful just because they know what like hitting rock bottom is, And I think anybody who starts sort of like in the middle is kind of fearful of losing what they have. And when you don't have anything, like, you just go all in, you just go hard, you know what I mean? Everything is a win.
I agree to a certain point. Cause
right, talk to me. This is exactly why we're doing this together. Okay,
because I feel like a lot of people that have hit rock bottom kind of have that like more of a drive to like never want to go back to like that position. But I feel like coming from like a side where I've kind of like my parents kind of have always been there for me, like always gave me everything I ever wanted. Like I've never really like felt that struggle, but I'm still like I want more. I want like, so I feel like a lot of people do, but there's some people who like come from a family that's like well taken care of, like mom and dad still in the picture and stuff. So I don't know. I feel like it's all on a person and how they're raised. Doesn't really matter
I mean, that's
sometimes.
true. And I feel like, let's actually add on to that, because I feel like you bring up a good point. And we're literally having this conversation, not in its entirety, but I asked you, like, what was your first car? And you said a Lexus. And I was like, well, I had a freaking 1993 Honda Accord that the door wouldn't even open. You know what I mean? So obviously we both come from like different backgrounds, but you still have such a crazy work ethic and drive, not in a way where it's like, I feel like with you, it's not so much for material things. It's more, I don't know. It's like you're like in this like unicorn status, I guess, if you will, because you, how do I say this? Like, you don't need to have that kind of hunger, but you do. You know what I mean? And every time you achieve something, it's always to give back and contribute back,
I feel like it comes from, you've actually said this in I think it was a podcast. where your mom never let you stay home even if you're sick. That was my mom. Like I would like come back from like cheer competitions, flying on an airplane, come back at like 1 o'clock in the morning. My mom would still make me go to school the next day. Like no matter how sick I am, she's still making me go to school. Like make me go to school the next day. Like there was even like
zero excuses.
Yeah,
basically.
like no excuses. So kind of how you said, like that gives you like that. What did you say?
Like that drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That drive to like keep going. But also like my dad is very hardworking too. Like he will never take a day off from work. Like sick, hurt, nothing. Like I've never seen that man take a day off. Even like going on vacation, like after like 2 days, it's like I need to get back home. I need to go back to work. So I think like just seeing that, it's like installed that like I need to work. But also like
ethic, yeah.
I don't know, like I feel like the moment I started getting like making my own money and stuff, like it's just the feeling of like having
accomplishment.
Yeah. And then also I'm very competitive. So when someone tells me like you can't do something, I'm like,
yeah, do it twice and take pictures.
Yeah. So I really like that quote though. It's very true.
You know, for me, like whenever I'm raising my daughter, I'm always like thinking about like I don't want to like spoil her, right? Obviously, I want to take care of her. I want to make sure that she has everything, but I never wanted to get to the point where she doesn't have that work ethic. You know what I mean? But she does. You know, at such a young age, she's extremely competitive. Like she'll even like compete with me, even though she knows she's not gonna win. She'll still like compete against, whether it's like running up the stairs or whatever the case might be. She's always very competitive. So seeing how you kind of turned out like kind of gives me more of like a hope to continue doing what I'm doing with her and like racing her and like giving her like helping her understand that being competitive and having the drive and the work ethic is
a good thing.
It's a good thing. You know what I mean? Even though I feel like my daughter would be you in a sense, like from where you're both started off, I guess. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Like having, like she's never going to have to struggle.
Exactly.
Like hit that rock bottom and feel that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I love that. Thank you.
What are your like main goals for her? Like as a dad, like when she gets older, like, okay, I did my job as a dad.
Honestly, I just want to see her happy doing what she loves. At the end of the day, like, I don't need for her to go to college if she doesn't want to. Like, as long as she's doing something that she feels fulfilled and can make a living on her own, like, that's all I want for her. Everything else, I mean, I'm always going to be there for her, right? But I think for me, the biggest thing is that because I never had that with my parents. And it wasn't because maybe, like, my mom or my dad never supported me. It's just that they were struggling themselves, that they couldn't take that time to just dedicate to me, you know, to just be like, hey, let me take you to gymnastic class, or hey, you want to do swimming, let's go try out swimming, or hey, you want to try this, like let's go and do that. It was more always like me on my own kind of thing, you know. So with my daughter, being able to see her grow up and, you know, see her be super competitive and have that work ethic and the drive and just believe in herself, I think ultimately her internal happiness is what's going to make me happy and feel fulfilled as a dad once I see her grow up, you know.
I love that. What about your son? Do you think you'll be harder on him?
No, I honestly, it's weird. I feel like, I mean, obviously he's still little, you know what I mean? But honestly, I just want him to be like my little best friend, like a little mini me, you know what I mean? Like I feel I've always wanted to experience that. And, you know, for me, one of the biggest things that happened to me in my life was losing my brother. So whenever he came into the picture again, he kind of like helped me heal that portion of that. You know what I mean? I don't ever want for people to think that I'm comparing him to my brother or like any of that, but he just kind of helped fill that little like void, I guess, if you will. You know what I mean? It's a weird feeling to kind of put it into words, but yeah, I don't know. I think my son's gonna be a legend. Like he's gonna be a little beast. He's gonna be surrounded by a bunch of like entrepreneurs, like hardworking people, successful people. I know.
I've seen you take him
with Jesus and Oscar. Yeah, and he's gonna be a little beast. By the time he's 10 years old, he's already gonna be taken care of.
What are your plans for that? Like, how are you gonna set that up?
So really good question. So it'll kind of tie on to what we're bringing on today. One of my things is to have a real estate portfolio so that he has like my whole family just taken care of for generations to come. That is going to be the number one way where I feel like how I'm going to accomplish that. And to add on to that, our guest today is actually a commercial real estate guru. He's a beast. I got the opportunity to spend time with him yesterday. He flew in all the way from New York to create content with me. And let me tell you, he has some crazy knowledge. And the reason why I feel like it's so powerful is because I think a lot of the times when you're thinking real estate, you think, oh, I need to have a large amount of cash. I need to have a large reserve in order to be able to make these kind of investments. But he's actually created a system to where you can actually be able to obtain commercial buildings without ever putting any of your money down through creative financing, which he's going to go more into detail.
That's crazy. I'm excited for this guest.
Yeah. All right, man. So we have the man, the myth, the legend, Ramel in the building. So I wanted you to introduce yourself because I feel like obviously you're going to be able to introduce yourself best. So
yes, sir.
Run with it, my man.
Absolutely. So my name is Ramel Newerls, 29 years old, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, all the way down in Cali now, showing y'all some love. But long story short, grew up in Brooklyn. I always had the aspiration to be an entrepreneur, but I had to find my way, right? So, from playing sports to getting into the streets and just trying to figure out my path, I ended up getting into real estate, right? So I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been in the real estate business for the last 7 years. My very first deal, I purchased a brownstone in Brooklyn, New York. I sold it for $1.2 million. I made 6 figures in real estate, my very first deal. From that point on, I continuously invest. Built up a multi-million-dollar portfolio over 34 rental properties, and all I do is just go out there and impact others, teach them how to go out there and buy real estate and change their lives as well. That's what we do.
Is that something you've always wanted to do, or is that just something?
That's a good question. It's something I always wanted to be of influence, right? I always wanted to be in a position to impact and provide opportunity. I just didn't know how I was going to do it. So, it just fell upon my lap.
And I feel like one of the things that we always like to touch on is like the behind the scenes portion of it, right? Because I feel like when people see somebody that's already successful, they can't connect because they can't relate to the process, right? So I want you to touch on a little bit of like how your upbringing was. Like, do you have any hardships? Did you struggle? Or like any of that?
Absolutely, We come from the struggle, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I love
that's
that.
normal. We come from the struggle, man. I grew up. My mom and my dad, right, they raised me. Unfortunately, my mother passed away when I was 12 years old. So that was like my first obstacle, like growing up, losing my mom, 12 years old. And she was an entrepreneur. So I seen she had her own production company. She inspired people, gave people jobs, put money in their pockets. So I wanted that. I inspired to be just like her. So when she passed away, I took it personal. I said, listen, I got to make sure that I continue that legacy going, right? 2 years after that, my grandmother passed away. So both of them actually passed away to cancer.
Sorry to hear that.
So that's like that's just like the biggest struggle that I went through growing up, because two of the most important women figures in my life, mother figures, they passed away when I was very young. So at 14 years old, I found myself, I'm in the street trying to find my way. My dad, he was a present dad, but he worked 60 hours a week, right, to keep the bills paid, the lights on. I have a twin brother, I have an older brother and an older sister, so it's 4 of us, right? So he's trying to raise all 4 of us. So it was a struggle for him, and that's when I found myself getting into trouble, right? So I was 14 years old. That's when I first got arrested. Wrong place at the wrong time, right? Just ended up getting into a fight and everybody brawling, right? But I got expelled out of high school because of that, right? So that was just a tough time for me. But when I got out of that, I took it personal. And I said I got to make sure that I never get into that place again. So, just typical kid, Brooklyn, New York. Everybody struggle, welfare, food stamps, but it's about not where you start, it's about where you're going.
Oof.
I like that.
Mic drop.
Yeah, it's a fact.
No, I love that, because that, again, kind of going back to what I was saying earlier, a lot of times people can't connect because they can't see themselves in that, right? Yeah. But this just shows that anybody can do it. Like, what would you say is like, I wouldn't say like the key to success, but I think the biggest thing that somebody can do that has, I don't want to say nothing going for them, but like is living like a normal life would be networking. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, your network is your net worth. That's just the bottom line, right? 100%. You are a combination of the closest 5 people to you. So if you hang around a bunch of people that just want to drink and smoke and hang out, that's what you're going to do. If you hang around ambitious minds who want to start podcasts, right, and be influencers, entrepreneurs, that's most likely what you're going to be. So I'm a firm believer in getting in new rooms. Like, I always invest in mentorship. Like, this year alone, I paid $50,000 to get around new people, right? That's how I'm here today. Just getting around new people and networking, and you just never know how far it could take you.
Yeah, and crazy story. you were supposed to fly back out yesterday, right?
Yeah,
After shooting
yeah,
content.
yeah.
And I was like, yo, I was like, next time that you're in here, like, I want to have you on a podcast.
Yeah.
He was like, what you mean? Like, let's do it now.
Yeah.
He was like, I make my own schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so powerful,
Yeah.
right? Because I feel like when you're able to put yourself in a position to kind of be able to live the life of your dreams and, you know, do the things how you want them to do, like, that's when moments like this happen.
Absolutely.
It's super
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah, I
love
feel
that.
that way. I feel that way 100%. So I kind of skimmed over my story a little fast, right? But I want to just highlight something that you talked about because most people, they'll see you as an entrepreneur. You got your own schedule. You wake up when you want. We really don't because you're working more hours, right? But people have the idea that, yes, entrepreneurs got it made, right? But I worked at Pepsi Beverages Company for 6 years. Like, that was my corporate job. So I went to college. First person in my family to ever go away to college, right? So all my cousins and my siblings, nobody made it. And my dad said, nobody made it, you gonna go, right? If nobody else go to college, you're gonna go to college. So I went to college, and you know, that's really when I was exposed to new things. I'm seeing new people, new environment, what the priorities are. People focused on their credit, having money saved, what's their future like. Those are the things that help propel me, right? But back to the point that I'm making, I worked at Pepsi for 6 years, right? So I was a sales rep to a manager, all of the things, delivery driver, all of the things that you could think about when it comes to a beverage company. I did that, but I saved up all my money and invested in my business to the point where my business started to pay me more than what my job was paying me. So now I have the freedom where when you tell me, I have a podcast, and you say, when the next time you're coming out, now we're gonna do this now, right? I have a sense of urgency. Like, we don't need to wait. We gonna, if whatever we need to do, let's get it done now because we don't know. Like, I always say that the biggest mistake that we all make is to think that we have time. Like, we think we have time. No, we don't have time.
Success loves speed.
You gotta move fast.
Yeah.
Slow feet don't eat.
I love that.
What is it that drives you? Is it family, fame, success, money?
Oh,
He's like, all
family
the
drives
above.
me. Yeah, not the fame. I don't care about the fame. I always say, man, I just want the fortune. I don't want the fame, but it comes with it. Family drives me. Number one, that's why I do what I do. Like I said earlier, opportunity. So I want to be in position where I have enough capital and resources, network and power, where, you know, my cousin, he's a rapper, right? I can give him the money so he can start his own studio. My aunt, she loves to cook. I can get her own restaurant, right? I want to be able to provide opportunities for people that's around me. So that's what drives me. And then really success. Like, when you're successful beyond money, you can go in different rooms. Like, you can go to a different state, and if people know who you are, you'll get free food or a great experience, right? Just having a dope life. Like, that's what motivates me.
I love that, bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask a question.
Of course.
Okay, what is the meaning of success to you?
Man, that's deep. That's deep.
Yep.
Let me think on that.
She's a beast.
What does success mean to me? Success means to me like the impact that I leave on people. Like, when I leave this earth, you know, my son, 'cause I'm a dad, I'm a new dad, my nieces, my nephew, my family, the community, the great things, the things that I leave behind. So I always say, you know, a lot of people, they hustle just for the weekend. I'm hustling for 3 generations, 5 generations. So I'll say I'm successful by impacting others. I want to make sure that I can help other people reach their full potential. It's not just about me, because I'm confident so much in myself that I know I can go and do all these great things. But if I can help everybody else do the same exact thing, that means I'm successful.
I love that. Heat.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I want you to touch on a little bit about, like, the system that you have created to help people be able to achieve wealth through real estate and commercial real estate with, you know, zero down, man. Because that's powerful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, like, everybody always thinks that when you're going into real estate, you need a large amount of money. You need to have perfect credit, stuff like that. Like, tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So serial entrepreneur, but I do have an online academy. So it's called Mailbox Millionaire Academy, where I teach online, entrepreneurs, real estate investors how to buy commercial real estate, which is apartment buildings and self-storage facilities. I teach them how to buy this with no money down, right? $0. Because like you said, most people think you need a bunch of money to start. So in this program, I teach different strategies on how you can go about it, just to name a few, right? One of the strategies that I'm heavy on is called seller financing. So seller financing is when you find a landlord or somebody who owns a building or facility, and they may be 60, 70, 80 years old. They made their money already. They own the business for 30, 40 years, and they're tired. And they just want to say, okay, I'll hand it over to you. You pay me out, and they want you to take over the business, and they essentially sell it to you, right? However, when somebody sells a product, even when you talk about crypto, stocks, any business, when you sell something, you do capital gains tax. You got to pay taxes on that. So if somebody's selling a $2 million building or facility, that owner is going to have to pay 30, 40% taxes, right? So 100%. The way you get around that is if the seller can actually be the bank. So they'll pretty much transfer over a mortgage, and I pay that seller every single month versus me going to a bank. And that way I can take ownership of a property with no money out of my pocket.
Yeah, so to add on to that, I think one of the things that a lot of people don't know is that if you receive money as a form of a loan, it's not taxable.
It's a fact.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
Yeah, so that goes to that.
So how do you find things like that? Like where the owner is older? Like how do you find that?
It's a few ways, right? One of the top ways that I go about it is called skip tracing. So it's a term where they used to use for like bounty hunting, where you want to find somebody who did a crime and you want to search them. It's called skip tracing. So I can pick a zip code, right? In this area or county, I can pick a county and I can pull a list of all of the owners who own apartment buildings, who own houses, who own storage facilities. I can get all of their names, right? And then I put them in my systems, which is called skip tracing, and now I can get their phone number. So in the entire county, I'll get everybody's name and phone number that is everybody's name and phone number that owns a building or a facility, and then I just call them up. Just say, hey, listen, my name is Ramel. I'm a local homeowner, growing, aspiring investor. I see that you own this facility. I just want to see if I can provide any solutions to you. Have you considered selling? Today in this market, you can get a pretty penny for your property. I want to make you an offer. There's no guarantee. Let's just talk about it. You have 10, 15 minutes. And if you approach somebody like that, most of the time they say, all right, let's see what you got to offer. And then based upon that conversation now is hopefully we can make a deal happen. Some people, they're in a distressed situation, right? They may have health concerns and they're really ready to get away from the business. Or they, like I said, they're older and their kids don't want nothing to do with it and they're ready to get out the way. So, it's really just knocking on doors virtually. I don't go around physically, but virtually just calling people, sending text messages, sending mail, and then seeing what comes back. That's and then outside of that, just partnering with different real estate companies, and they'll send you opportunities when it comes up.
One of the things that you touched up on a little bit earlier was credit, right? So I feel that for us, I think I know my audience. It wouldn't normally be somebody that might have the capital to make large investments, right? But you also provide business funding, right? Can you touch up on a little bit on like how your personal credit can actually help you get good business funding and be able to use that to make investments, like for example, like a course like yours, and move forward into the investments.
So I love that question and topic, period, because again, when we are getting into entrepreneurship, we want to start companies that takes money. As I'm seeing, you got the light and equipment. This is a bunch of money you had to invest. Most people don't have a bunch of money to just start a business or buy a property, so we have to be creative, in which we have credit. So you want to utilize your credit, which is the ability to pay on time, over time, right? You get capital and then you pay it off over time. But I like to strategize and use that credit to go and invest. Building out your business credit, it starts with your personal credit, right? And this is how I always break it down. If I walk in the street and I see 3 or 4 or 5 people and I just randomly go to them and say, hey, can I borrow $50? They're going to say, hell no, get away from me. Who are you? I don't know you, right? Yeah. You have no credibility. However, if I know you and I've been around you and I've lent you money or you've borrowed money from me and we've done great things for each other, if I asked you to borrow some money, 9 times out of 10, you're going to help me out because I have credibility. You know me. So it's the same concept with your credit. So personally, you want to get some secured credit cards, right? You can start small and go get a secured credit card with Capital One, Discover, Chase. Those are different banks that you can go to, put down $50 and get a secured card, a secured loan, and start building out your personal credit. And that's important because when you're going to apply for business credit, the banks are going to look at you personally to see if you can manage your own personal finances correctly. 9 times out of 10, you can manage a business. But if your personal finances and credit is screwed, why would we give you money for your business? So it's important for you to build out that personal credit foundation first, and then you can start building out that business credit. And banks, the concept behind it is they need to lend out money, especially in the state of the economy now, pandemic and all these things that's happening. Inflation is super high. They are in the business of lending out money. They actually lend out our own money, right? We put our money in a bank and then they lend it out. So they have quotas and expectations on how many people they need to get credit cards to, loans to. So it's out here for us. We just have to meet the requirements to be able to get that capital. And you go, you get you a business line of credit, a business loan, a business credit card, pull the money off, and you start investing.
I love that. And it's powerful because I think I'm speaking for me specifically, like growing up like in a Hispanic household, you're just taught to use your credit card for like gas or like small stuff and then just pay it off. But now you're talking about leveraging that credit line and actually using that money to generate you more, like buying assets that generate you more money.
Facts. I don't even use cash or debit card. I don't even carry a debit card or cash, you know, because you want to maximize. Even like when you spend on gas, you want to look at which card gives you reward points, right? So I just flew out here for free because I have reward points. I had about $800 saved up in reward points from just spending on my credit card. Then I could cash them in and go get free flights, right? Free hotels, right? You can get all of these things just by using your credit card. If you're going to spend the money anyway, you might as well put it on a credit card, get the reward points, get the benefits of it, and just pay it off. And now you can strategically live a lifestyle that you want to live. That's just how I do it.
Some heat.
So what's the best advice you've gotten and the worst advice you've gotten?
Wow. You got amazing questions.
Bars,
man.
bro.
Listen, the best advice that I was ever given was I was speaking with my mentor, right? He's a multi-millionaire. And I said, can you tell me about some blind spots, right? Like if you could go back and do it over again, you know, what could you tell me? And he told me, you want to focus on duplicating yourself. He said, do it now, right? And when you say duplicate yourself, what that means is create somebody else, influence somebody else, help somebody else be the version of you, right? Because how are you going to grow a business if you're stuck in the business, right? Because nobody know how to speak on the phone or get this type of credit card or make that offer, right? You have to create other people so you can step away and have your business run. And that's where most people fail, because you two may be great on the camera and knowing how to ask questions and all the journalistic characteristics and skills you need. You're great behind the scenes, but at some point you want to step back and have it run itself. You have to duplicate yourself. So that's one of the greatest advice that I got from my mentor, and I pass that out. And I take pride in it. So where, you know, I can be on the West Coast and my business is still running because I created other people. I helped duplicate myself to keep everything going. The worst advice that I was given was actually by my grandfather. If he had this podcast, he's gonna be like, "Damn boy." Yes, but it's the truth. So he told me that I should start small. Right? That was the worst advice that he ever gave me, and I say this all the time. Like the fastest way to kill a dream is to share it with a small mind. That's the fastest way. A lot of times we get big, bold ideas and we want to execute, and then we tell somebody else who don't really believe in themselves, right? They have their own insecurities. They tell us, and then we start thinking of everything on why it won't work, right? And that's the fastest way to kill your dream. And it was an opportunity. This is how I got into real estate. It was actually a family member of mine going through a pre-foreclosure. So what a pre-foreclosure is when you fall behind on your mortgage, the bank is about to take it away from you, and you got to figure out what you're going to do, right? I went in, I ended up getting the property under contract. So it was a brownstone. In New York, these houses cost a lot of money, similar to Cali, right? I got the property for $590,000. Now, just because you contract the property, that doesn't mean you paid for it yet. You just got it under contract. So I got it under contract just to lock it up, but I was trying to raise the money. So now I'm going to my friends, my grandpa, my dad. Yo, who has money? How can we buy this? I'm presenting how we could make so much money on this. And my grandfather told me, this is too big of a deal. $590,000. Start small. Go get a $30,000 house, right? You know, you're doing a lot. You know, you're gonna fail fast, right? I didn't listen to him, so I said, all right, you know,
You're out.
yeah, all right, get it. But I end up getting a capital partner. So a capital partner is another person who came in. He put up all the money for me. I put no money out of my pocket. He said, I'm gonna put up the entire $590,000. I just want 50% of the proceeds, right? And I was like, damn, you can get 50% of my profits? But
Well, he's coming
at the end
up
of the
with
day,
capital.
you're putting up all the money. And that's when we did the deal, sold it for $1.2 million. And that was my very first deal. But if I would have listened to my grandfather and said, let me walk away, start smaller, I wouldn't have walked away with a $200,000 check, right? Walking into the bank. And the money I made, it just showed me that this was very possible. And now I got to go harder and don't let nobody tell me nothing that's going to stop me from being successful.
Fire, bro. I really want to highlight your business because obviously you took the time to come up here.
Absolutely.
It was a 2-hour drive, come San Diego. For anybody that wants to reach out to you and learn more about you, like how can they reach out to you?
Yes, you can go to mailboxmillionaireacademy.com, right? You go on that website, you'll get a bunch of information about my online academy, how we teach you how to buy apartments, storage facilities, no money down, right? You can find me on Instagram at @mogul_lifestyle_, and on YouTube where I'm dropping a game every single day. If you come on my YouTube channel, I'm dropping some game every day. Mogul Elite Club. That's where you can find me. And, keep going.
I love that. And then at the end, we like to finish off with like just affirming like our guests and just ourselves as well. So I want to personally thank you for being a leader in your community and impacting others and showing other people that it is possible to build generational wealth, no matter what it is that they come from, no matter, what their background might have been or the things that they have gone through. Like I appreciate you for that, man.
I appreciate both of y'all. I appreciate everybody here for allowing me to even share this space. I commend y'all. The setup is amazing, right?
It's all them, man.
The setup is crazy. The interview was amazing. So I just look forward to seeing it grow. I look forward to coming back.
Yes, sir.
And
We would love
in
to
3
have you
months.
back.
I'm here. Just let me know.
Yes, sir. Yeah, all right, let's just finish off with like a pretty cool question, right? This one says, would you rather travel back in time and spend a day there or a day in the future, and why?
Day in the future. I want to go into the future because I'm a visionary. Like, what happened already. I can't do nothing with it. But if I go in the future and know what happened, I could plan for it and probably get around some things, right? Not lose as much money, not lose as much sleep.
Yeah.
So I'll go into the future.
I love that.
Right away.
Perfect. Well, man, thank you so much, for coming out here. I know you did a 2-hour drive just to be at the podcast, so thank you for you, man.
That's what we do.
We
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
you very
Yeah.
much.
Absolutely.
All right,